Good morning, everyone. For Telesur, I'm Cody Weddle in Caracas, Venezuela. We once again begin in Colombia, where authorities are investigating the capture of General Ruben Darío Alzate. Since his detention by FARC rebels, President Juan Manuel Santos and top military officials have questioned why Alzate was unarmed in civilian attire and without armed guards in a guerrilla hot zone. A massive rescue operation is underway in the Pacific region of Choco in search for the general and the two others who were accompanying him. The FARC admitted on Tuesday that it had captured Alzate during what it called an act of war. The rebels emphasized that they have demanded a bilateral ceasefire since 2012. Since then, Manuel Santos has repeatedly refused to accept a truce and now has warned the FARC that the peace talks that were scheduled to continue in Havana Tuesday will be suspended until Alzate is released.
Estamos insistiendo en algo que...
No, we are not setting conditions. We are simply insisting in something we have been saying for months, which is the insensitivity that leads to these types of situations, which is the government's insistence to continue the peace talks in the middle of a war. We believe it is necessary and that this incident forces all of us to reflect upon the necessity of declaring a bilateral ceasefire now.
To Venezuela now, where Tuesday President Nicolas Maduro signed 28 new laws intended to fight against right-wing capitalist sectors of society. Now, he says the new measures will convert the country into an economic power that defends its resources and benefits the working class. Here's our correspondent Rachel Boothroyd to explain.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has announced a string of measures aimed at transferring further power to the country's working class. The initiatives were announced this Monday at the country's first Workers' Congress and were a direct response to the proposals put forward by thousands of workers across Venezuela in order to deepen its transition to socialism.
Without workers, there is no homeland. But more importantly, without workers, there is no revolution, and much less a socialist revolution.
The 12 measures announced by the president include the creation of a new bank for workers and the establishment of a new government institution to promote the formation of community-run production projects such as this one in South. During the Congress, Maduro also announced the shake-up of the country's work ministry, a national audit of all state-owned enterprises in order to combat bureaucracy, and the creation of a commission to safeguard workers' salaries and to protect them from speculation. Workers here say that the new measures will help to consolidate and expand the socialist revolution, which has prioritised their needs and living standards. Over the next few weeks, the Presidential Commission of the Working Class will also be officially inaugurated. The commission will see elected spokespeople from the working class make public policy alongside the President. Rachel Boothroyd for Telesur in Caracas, Venezuela.
Now to Mexico, where social unrest continues following the killing of 3 Ayotzinapa students and the disappearance of 43 others. Soldiers stopped a bus Tuesday on a main highway in Guerrero State full of students returning from a protest. The students say they were forced out of the bus, intimidated, and threatened to stop their protests while the soldiers took their photos. Also on Tuesday, the families of the 43 missing students signed an agreement with the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights and the Mexican government. The OAS body will provide technical assistance in the search for the Ayotzinapa students and protection for their families. For the latest out of Mexico and the case of the missing students, we go to our correspondent Clayton Kahn.
Trumpets and drums of war, a poignant metaphor representing the students from Ayotzinapa. Their demand for justice is not just marches and protests, but also culture and art.
Much of the mass media has stigmatized us as a kind of gang and other things they call us, but we want a society to see and realize what we really do in our schools.
They say preserving and promoting cultural roots helps them stay planted within society and allows them to cope with the loss of their killed and disappeared classmates.
We want society to understand us and continue to support us. For me, it's painful to remember September 26th and 27th, since the majority of our classmates were in their first year, and I knew several of them. One was a member of the drum corps. and
Their sentiment is echoed as artists, actors, and cultural producers express their solidarity through song, understanding too the fundamental importance of using culture as a tool for social change.
Tristemente en este país el arte está echado a un lado.
Sadly, in this country, art is put to the side as if it wasn't important. But truly, if more people were dedicated to art or were interested in it, then there would be many less people doing things they shouldn't do.
It seems as if every night more and more candles are lit, continually pouring light on a case that will not simply fade away. Clayton Khan, Telesur, Mexico City.
Thanks once again to Clayton. And we stay in Mexico, where First Lady Angelica Rivera has bowed to public pressure and intense criticism. She has decided to give up her plans to acquire a $7 million mansion in a posh neighborhood of Mexico City. Now, her decision comes after revelations that the home was owned by the same company that the government of her husband offered a $4 billion rail contract.
In addition to this public explanation that I have given, I am at this moment making public private documents without any obligation, because as I said before, I am not a public servant, but I can't allow this issue to put in doubt my honor and above all else threaten my family.
To the United States now, where the Senate has failed to gain the 60-vote filibuster-proof majority needed to pass two landmark bills. In a vote on Tuesday, lawmakers voted on the USA Freedom Act that would have ended the National Security Agency's ability to collect data and telephone records of American citizens. 58 senators supported the act and 42 voted against it. Now, a bill to advance the controversial Keystone XL pipeline was also rejected by a vote in the Senate. Democrats largely opposed the pipeline for environmental reasons. Republicans argued that the pipeline would create jobs in the country. With a vote of 59 to 41, the Senate failed to pass the measure. The pipeline would transport crude oil from Canada's tar sands to the Gulf of Mexico. To the Middle East now. In Jerusalem Wednesday, Israeli officials destroyed the home of a Palestinian man who ran over and killed two people at a tram stop last month. The incident comes just one day after two Palestinian men stormed a synagogue in the capital, killing 4 rabbis and a police officer before being shot dead by police. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas condemned the attack and all other violent acts. He also demanded an end to the Israeli occupation. The mayor of Jerusalem warns that the Palestinian government will never win through violence.
The world has to make sure that the Palestinian Authority understands it cannot win using terror. And there's no doubt in my mind, we will win this fight. We won it before.
And we go to Russia now, where President Vladimir Putin accused the United States of attempting to change the balance of power in its favor. He said one way has been by increasing NATO forces in Eastern Europe and approaching them to Russian borders. He added that the economic sanctions due to the Ukraine crisis was another attempt by the U.S. and its allies to overpower his country.
The United States does not want to humiliate us. They want to subdue us. They want to solve their problems at our expense. They want to subdue us to their influence. No one ever succeeded in doing this to Russia, and no one ever will.
Plenty more on those stories and others at our website, telesurtv.net/English. For Telesur English, I'm Cody Weddle. Hope you have a great Wednesday.